Good morning and welcome to Unfiltered Vision News. Well, good morning and welcome to Unfiltered Vision News, bringing you the news unfiltered Monday through Friday. Thank you so much for joining me here this morning. And Spud, thank you so much for joining me this morning, and good morning to you as well. So let's get into honoring God with our body. God, please guard our mind and our thoughts. God, help me to fix my thoughts on what is true and honorable and right and pure and lovely and admirable. So I will think about things that are excellent and worthy of praise. God, please protect our ears and help us listen to your voice. God, help me to be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry. God, please protect my eyes from sin's damage. God, I make a covenant with my eyes not to look lustfully. God, please speak life over our mouths. God, set a guard over my mouth. Lord, keep watch over the doors of my lips. God, please help our hands to serve generously. God, help me to do good to everyone, and especially to those who belong to our family in the faith. God, please protect my reproductive organs and help me to honor you, God, with purity. God, help me to honor you with my body. And God, please protect our feet as we walk along your path. God, let your word be a lamp for my feet and a light on my path. Yes, we say that every morning here on Unfiltered Vision News until we find a new mantra or something else. That's what we're going to do here. Just remembering to honor God with our body and our lives. And hello to you, Dervin Bikov. Okay, 707. Thank you so much for joining me here on Unfiltered Vision News. And amen, Spud. Thank you so much for that reply. So we are going to start, of course, with our trending topics on X. So let's get into it. Some interesting things that I found. We're going to start with some videos that I've bookmarked. And the first one is Representative Summer Lee. And she was asked a question regarding individuals that are here illegally. And we have, had this back and forth. And people were like, well, illegals belong here. And I was like, okay, first of all, we have over 300 legal ports of entry. So people should not be coming here illegally. If they want to truly be here and they want truly to add to the country, first of all, it should be like Qatar where they have a job and that actual institution or corporation is responsible for them, right? Literally, top down, responsible for them. And if they get in trouble, the corporation gets fined or gets in trouble. That's how it should be. but it's not. It's just a free-for-all. And a lot of these people have deportation orders. The problem is the policies in some of these cities say you can't ask somebody their immigration status or you're wrong, which is crazy. And they've also not worked with ICE to say, hey, we have the person that you're looking for. Come pick them up. They just release them back out in the community. So what does ICE do? They go out to the community to find this person. And then you have all this chaos. So they've created the chaos, but now they want to blame ICE for the chaos that they've created. It's kind of weird. It's kind of weird. But let's see her take.
Well, I just want to talk to you. You're here fighting for justice for ICE detainees. Can you tell us, many Americans are concerned that members of Congress, including yourself, are fighting harder for, these ICE detainees than actual Americans who are experiencing crime as a result of illegal aliens.
Is there a question?
Well, why? Why are you doing that?
Oh, because I believe in our Constitution. I think that it's important. I think that most Americans, when they're not indoctrinated by right-wing talking points, recognize that an infringement on our Constitution means that they will also infringe your rights. So what we're actually saying is, and what I'm actually fighting for, is that if ICE can, for instance, profile somebody because of their race or their religion or their accent, or if they can pull people off the streets and infringe upon their constitutional rights, then that means that they can also infringe upon yours. It means that you are not safe as an American because our constitutional fail-safes are failing. So what I actually want to do is to restore our actual constitutional principles, that people in this country have a right to free speech, or they have a right to protest. They have a right for instance, to not necessarily just be seized by ICE agents or police without due process of law. All of those things are constitutional provisions, which means that I am every day fighting for Americans, whatever or however that American got here, however long that American has been here.
So is it in the Constitution to protect illegal aliens who entered this country?
I think actually it's actually just in my moral code to do that. So that's extra. So as a Christian, I believe that it is my responsibility to protect the rights of all people. I believe that that's what Christ would do because it's what he did. So he demonstrated to us how we should treat other human beings. He said, do unto these, surely what you have done unto the least of these, you have done unto me. So if you have not fed someone who's been hungry, or if you've not clothed somebody who is naked, or if you have not freed somebody who is falsely imprisoned, then you have done poorly unto Christ. And that's actually where I come from. So that's not a constitutional provision. That's just my God. Thank you.
Thank you, Congresswoman. Well,
okay, you're going to bring God into illegal activity? Stop that. Stop that. That was disgusting. Don't bring God into something that you know is wrong, because every person that sets foot on this soil is not an American. They are from somewhere else. They actually fall under another jurisdiction, and there's like a whole premise of foreigners and how God says we should deal with people that are foreign. That's a whole separate conversation. But do you see the conjecture and how she layered things? It's like, first of all, let's deal with the lie. The lie is everybody that comes here is not an American citizen. They're not citizens. They're not covered by the Constitution. We have a Constitution. Other countries don't have. That's why people are fighting to get over here. Okay? Because we do have laws. But if you don't follow the laws and you just say, it's okay for everybody to be here, what kind of country do we have left? It's kind of crazy. Anyway, next topic I wanted to get to, and I came across this where it says Canada is now on the verge of classifying some Bible passages as hate speech. So there's a new law that just passed, and if sharing your faith offends the wrong person, you can face up to 2 years in prison. Now, this has been a slow roll in Canada because I've heard about this back and forth. There was a minister from Poland. He refused to close down his church. And he was someone who actually, grew up, I guess, in Poland and parts of Germany before he moved to Canada. So he understands your rights being taken away, right? So there's that. But let's just do a quick dive and then we'll get on to the next.
Canada is on the verge of criminalizing the Bible and Christianity, and barely anyone is talking about it. Bill C9, a bill aimed at targeting hate speech, has just advanced through second reading. And the reason why this is so dangerous is, well, first of all, there's no such thing as hate speech. The government hasn't defined it, meaning it's left up to the police or judge to decide based on their feelings if something is hate speech. and it directly targets biblical passages. As part of a deal Liberals struck with the Bloc Québécois, they've agreed to remove a good faith religious text protection that exists in law. This means that anything said by a Christian, whether in a church service, as part of reading the Bible, sharing their faith on a YouTube video, or even in private with someone, could lead up to 2 years imprisonment because some cog in the machine decided it was hateful based on their feelings. They haven't defined which Bible passages would be banned, but even if they did, this is the government directly intervening with people's faith and potentially deeming Christianity a criminal offence. We're at the point where the government may even ban the Bible altogether, we suppose. That's where this is headed. Joining us to discuss is citizen journalist.
And well, yeah, you guys can find this under the Vigilant Fox. Yeah. And then there was this one. Is this gentleman, his name is David Kite, and he said he visited 3 martyr locations across downtown Atlanta. No police, no security, not even martyr workers. This is the security response after the recent shootings and murders across various martyr stations leading up to the Atlanta hosting the World Cup. Now, here's the thing I'm going to say about this. I'm not going to play this video, but what I am saying is I have lived in Atlanta. They do have police around. You don't see them because a lot of their policing is surveillance based, right? So they have cameras and then they show up after something happens, but they do not have a physical presence during the day. Now at night, it's a lot different. My husband and I, we used to go to karaoke near the Fox Theater. Trust me, the police are in full effect everywhere when it's nighttime. Like when dusk hits, yeah, Atlanta is a totally different situation. So just wanted to put that out there. Atlanta's not perfect by any means, but they do have security. Just saying. I wanted to put that out there. Now, there was something else that I came across. And now, everything with the LA mayor's race, this is really important. It says LA woman pleads guilty in voter registration scheme as primary results finalized. So Brenda Lee Brown Armstrong agreed in May 2026 to plead guilty to a federal felony for directing Skid Row residents to use invented addresses like Pinocchio Lane on registrations and petitions. She's facing up to 5 years in prison. The case broke in late mail-in ballots, flipped the June 2nd Los Angeles mayoral primary, securing Mayor Karen Bass first place at 34% and advancing council member Nithya Raman to second place at 29% over Spencer Pratt's 26%. Critics cite high registrations at shelters and turnout spikes, but county officials defend the process as legal. With no evidence, the scheme changed results. Federal probes into potential fraud continue ahead of the November runoff. So how do you even have this? Pinocchio Lane? It's not even a street in Los Angeles. Are you going to throw these votes out is the question. Are you actually going to do a forensic audit before you call the race? Before you call and say, okay, these are the candidates that are going on the ballot in November. That's why I was like, okay, Spencer Pratt, if you still want to run, you can run with the Redemption Party and be a write-in candidate. Be a write-in. Have people write you in on the ballot in November. Do not give up. Do not settle for this, because if the ballots are written in, mailed in or not, if your name is written in on that ballot, they're going to have to accept it. They have to. And it's going to be really crazy if there's an audit done and they see all these write-in votes. Yeah, we got to hold some people to account. It's just silly season, in my opinion, outside, complete silly season for Los Angeles. And the sad part about all of this is that they truly, truly do not care. They don't care. I mean, I would love to say, hey, these are wonderful people, you guys. They care about everything. No, they don't. They care about power. And when you've got such a lust for power to this degree, everything else falls to the wayside, and it's just sad. But there's two other topics that I wanted to get to. Apparently, the post office is coming up with a situation where they are not going to allow mail-in ballots, but let's just hear this.
You see that's what's happening in California. They're rigging the election.
The Postal Service proposed a new rule pushing states to turn over their mail-in and absentee voter rolls to the agency. The agency's proposed rule would create a mail-in and absentee participation list. The state would first submit to the USPS a list of voters who are submitting mail-in ballots for that election, along with each voter's corresponding personalized barcode on their ballots. Then the USPS would return a final mail-in and absentee participation list to each state's chief election official to finalize the names of all enrolled voters in the state and the barcodes associated with their ballots. The move is in line with President Donald Trump's March executive order tightening regulations on mail-in voting in federal elections. Voters who receive mail-in or absentee ballots must be included on the final mail-in and absentee participation list, marking a significant change in the rules and regulations for mail-in and absentee voting. The USPS issued the proposed rule on May 29th, one day after Trump-nominated District Judge Carl J. Nichols in the District of Columbia denied Democrats' injunction request against the mail-in voting executive order.
So it's not that you can't have the mail-in ballots. You actually have to have clean voter rolls. And they have to match up so that when the ballots are mailed in, they actually match the people, so that dead people aren't voting. Obviously, people who have moved from another state, they're not voting in the wrong state, and that people that are legally allowed to vote are actually voting. I don't see the problem, but somebody's going to find a problem with this because apparently the Democrats did, and the judge denied them. Now, the next one is apparently the ActBlue CEO, she pleads the fifth, but I need you guys to see what she pleads the fifth to.
Questions for you, but I want to make sure I'm respectful. Is it Ms. Jones or Ms. Wallace-Jones?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer the question pursuant to my Fifth Amendment rights under the Constitution.
Okay, wow. Okay, didn't expect that one.
As our witness today, we have Ms. Regina Wallace-Jones, the CEO of ActBlue. Ms. Wallace-Jones, will you please stand and raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony that you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Let the record show that the witness answered in the affirmative. You may be seated.
So when you're asked to, I guess, under penalty of perjury, attest and say who you are, and you got to raise your right hand, you're cool with that. But if somebody's asking you a question about your actual name and if which one is right, you're playing the fifth to that, huh? I was just like, I had to play that. I'm sorry. So you guys can watch the rest of this, but I don't want to say it's boring, but she pleads the fifth to everything. Everything. You saw her plead the fifth to her name. That's why the whole room was like, huh? Okay. So maybe your name is like written differently in the documents. And yeah, but I mean, you do have the right to play the fifth, but usually attesting and saying who you are and make your name is correct. You don't plead the fifth to that. It's weird. Okay. Now we're going to get into this Aaron Brockovich and the data centers. That's what I was supposed to cover yesterday. I'm sorry I didn't. The Carmelo Anthony case kind of took over. But let's get into what's happening with the data centers and where Aaron Brockovich sees that she can help.
Against the rapid growth of data centers for AI across the U.S. amid growing concerns about the environmental impacts on communities.
This is the beautiful city of Maysville. Oh, sorry, could you not hear me? That might just be the two pre-existing data centers right behind me.
Georgia Power is expecting all of the tax citizens and the landowners here to subsidize their project.
Go look into China and their data centers. They are using like windmills and not using water.
18 of these turbines back here, and they're wanting to put 41 in place.
And leading the charge is activist Erin Brockovich, consumer advocate and environmental activist, who is joining me right now. Awfully good to have you back on the show, Erin. Thanks for joining us. And look, everybody knows you famously battled a giant gas company, as portrayed in that Oscar-winning film starring Julia Roberts. And now you are tackling AI. Prior to launching your website, Brockovich AI Data Center Reporting, you wrote, if data centers are so great, why are they being built in secret? How have companies managed to build hundreds of facilities under the radar? These things, I mean, they're huge, so many of them. You can't miss them.
Yeah, no. So, the whole thing started for me when I had 30 individual emails from one community about data centers. That's usually a signal for me that something's going on. And so I wanted to see the bigger picture about what was happening with data centers. So that's why we created the map. I was stunned within 3 days that 47, 48 states were reporting. And you just asked a great question, because that's exactly what they all started to report to me. How this happened. They had no idea. These proposals came through. They felt like it was in the middle of the night. They were secret. It was behind closed doors. So they became very concerned at that point. Why did we not know? What is the secret? What is the push? And they had no say in it. So that's what's really started so many of these communities across the country and their frustration about these data centers and how they got there.
And look, you've noted that you're not completely opposed to data centers. So what aspects of them are you against?
Oh, well, we're all concerned about data centers. I think there's a conversation here about AI and data centers. This isn't necessarily a conversation about AI. This is about the data centers and where you're placing them. And they're being placed on top of schools, on top of residents, in, hospitals, in locations. And again, you said these things are monstrous. And what's happening from proposal to construction to running. Let's talk about the non-disclosure that's really frustrated people. They're extraordinarily concerned about their water. They're extraordinarily concerned about their energy bills, which many people are now reporting in the facilities that are up and running. They are double and triple the electric bill. They're very concerned about all of this on top of an already strained infrastructure system. Not to mention, they're very worried about the land, what's happening to the wildlife, and most importantly, what is the future impact on their health, and the just enormous reports coming from people about the noise. They said it is so loud. This is a 24/7 situation, nonstop, just in your ear, humming, hissing, and buzzing. And people just feel like they're going crazy there.
So AI advocates say that these data centers are necessary for growth, and they will provide opportunities for technological advancement. They're going to create high-paying jobs. Is there a way for these centers to coexist with residents who share their communities with them? Do you see that happening?
Not at this size, and not if it continues to be secret, if not letting people have a voice at the table. Explain to me what this is. Not if their utility bills are going to go up, not if they're going to lose their water, or their well water's lower, or they're having to dig deeper wells. And no environmental impact studies, zero information, zero oversight. If we keep that going, I think they will collide and they won't get along. And, what I'm watching, and I don't like what I'm watching, is once again, we're doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. Here with some new industry that's coming in with no, again, oversight, no studies or anything. It just gets rammed down your throat and you have to accept it. And then we're going to find out 5, 8, 10 years later, oh, oops, this was a really big mistake.
Hey, Josh, can you put back up her website that shows these data centers? Because, Erin, since starting your website in April, More than 3,600 AI data centers have been cataloged on this interactive map that we're showing here. Right now, there are more than 4,300 data centers nationwide. Have you heard from any of the big companies involved in the construction of these centers? And what can communities do to push back and be heard beyond your website?
So I have not heard from any of the IT, tech companies. And we've had over 8,000 individual submissions. And this is people reporting what's actually happening in their backyard. We've pinned now over 4,700 reports. We're backlogged in getting the reports on there. But what I am seeing, and I have never seen anything like this in my career, let alone it be the entire country, a bipartisan issue, but how they are organizing. They are educating themselves. They are networking together. They are informing themselves. And the one thing that they're doing is show.
So we've got 219 of those things in Georgia. Now, there's one that was proposed to be built where I just moved to in Camden County. And what they've decided to do is halt it. And I'm hoping that it's been halted indefinitely and that we will not have any data centers down here this way.
Showing up. They are showing up across the country. And, we are now seeing about 79 plus municipalities who are putting on bans, moratoriums, pauses. We want more information. We'd like some studies. We're seeing states now doing the same thing. And that is all coming from the people, their voice, and showing up again in numbers about how important this is at a very local level to their city councils, that you hear us, that you see us, and why this is going to be a problem for us.
Let me remind viewers, if they're interested, the website is Brockovich AI Data Center reporting. Aaron Brockovich, you keep on keeping on, and we're awfully glad for it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, so, MS Now, they can do some good work every once in a while. But they're not completely horrible, right? I'm glad they had Aaron on or Miss Brockovich, and I'm glad of what's happening. Now, the last two, I'm not going to play these whole videos, but I did want to at least spotlight them, and I'll definitely give you guys the link so you can watch the videos later on in context.
Seriously off with the new Fed chair transition, and millions are noticing. I mean, picture this. It's May 22nd, 2026. Kevin Warsh raises his right hand and takes the oath as the new chairman of the Federal Reserve, the single most powerful job in the American economy. The man whose decisions reach all the way down to your mortgage, your savings account, and the price of the steak in your cart. And a few feet away, watching it happen, sits the man he's replacing, who, for some reason, isn't actually leaving.
And I'll have to fire him, okay? If he's not leaving on time, I've held back firing him. I've wanted to fire him, but I hate to be controversial.
For years, the president had hammered that old chairman in public, pounded him like a faulty vending machine, cut rates, cut faster, cut deeper. So the second he finally gets his own guy in that chair, every expert and every headline assumes the exact same thing. Okay, well, here come the cuts. Cheaper money, relief. Well, that is not what happened. Day one, the talk inside that building isn't cutting. It's the opposite. Hold the line, maybe even raise. At the last meeting before the handoff, 4 of them broke ranks, the most pushback in that room since 1992. And not one of them did it to cut faster. They did it to warn the next move might be a hike. And that old chairman who wouldn't leave, he's still on the board, in the room, right behind the new guy. It's the economic version of breaking up with someone and then watching them climb into the back seat of your car to critique your parallel parking. So Trump wanted cuts. Warsh was picked to cut. The math says don't, and Powell never actually left. If your gut is telling you something here is deeply off or weird, your gut is right. And it's just not off for the reason they're putting on the news. Because here's the part nobody is saying out loud. Underneath all of it, there's a problem so big that Washington really only has 3 ways out. 2 of them end careers on the spot. And the third, the quiet one, only works by dumping it on the American people. And it has a name, And a bank full of billionaires has already told its clients to get ready for it. That's what this is really about. And before we're done, I'm going to show you the one move they have left and the thing the smartest money in the country quietly did about it months ago. And look, if you've spent your whole life doing it right, you've been saving, you've been staying out of debt, you've been paying off the house, keeping a cushion in the bank for a rainy day, and you still feel like you slip a little further behind every single year, you're not imagining that. You're not bad with money. There's a machine running underneath all of this, and almost nobody will explain it to you in plain English. So that's what I'm going to do. 3 things. First, the only 3 ways out of a debt this size and why 2 of them are off the table. Second, why the Fed is standing up there saying the exact opposite of what the math is screaming. And third, the big one, what the richest families in the country are quietly doing right now and what it means for your house and the money in your savings account. So let's start with what's...
Okay, so you guys can catch up to that video. Like I said, I'm running all the time. And now I want to get to this next one. They kind of work in tandem.
Jacked your credit score. The new formula is, let's just say, new. Say goodbye to the sleepy little 3-digit number that sits in a drawer until you need to lease a mid-sized sedan. Those days are gone. You know, last week somebody posted something online that just stopped me cold. People noticing their banking apps practically begging them, connect your accounts, boost your score. And when we looked into why, we found something that makes your Ring doorbell look shy. Because the new version of your credit score doesn't just check what you owe anymore. It watches something a lot more personal. I mean, is nothing sacred anymore? So I had to go dig. I had to see what's up. And you're going to want to sit down for this. Because the internet's already doing its usual panicked flailing. People screaming that the bureaus flipped some giant cartoonish switch in an underground lair and reset everyone's score to 0. Not so. At least, not yet. But this is what's obvious to me. Most people are either completely confused or about to get blindsided. And I don't want that to be you. So here's the fact-checked version. They did not stop looking at your debt. They still do. They just bolted a second high-def surveillance camera onto the whole thing and aimed it straight at your checking account. And right now, technically, saying yes is still your call. It is optional. But the terrifying little question is, how long does optional last? So here's what's really going on. And it's bigger than the credit score changes everyone's bracing for in 2026. For 30 years, your score was a report card on your past. Did you borrow money? Did you pay it back? Cool. That was the whole test. Well, that's over. Your score is no longer just a snapshot of your income, debt, and payment history. They've bolted this live stream documentary of your daily existence on top of it. And when I saw how deep this goes, the phrase that kept running through my head was, they're reading my mail. 3 things are changing here. And I'm going to walk you through all 3, smallest to biggest, because number 1, the last one, is the one they're running on the people who did everything right. The careful ones, the savers, the ones who followed the old rules, right up until the rules changed. If that's you, you couldn't have seen this coming. Guarantee it. But
Yeah. So basically the video gets more into how they are using your checking account to see in real time, right, how your money patterns and your spending habits, which in my opinion is a violation of the 4th Amendment. We all know that, right? Because we're not criminals. We're innocent people. We've got a checking account. We're free. We're not in jail. Or are we in an open air prison, right? Where every single move we make and we are listened to by our phones and our televisions. Soon our refrigerators, which is an appliance. Is it an open air prison or are we free? We have to really ask that question. And Spud says there should be a community charity before, or community, caucus basically, before any data centers are placed within our communities. And Spud also says the illegals in Miami don't have these things to worry about because they get a clean slate on arrival, which is crazy, right? Yeah, it is open air prison. It is. And we have, unfortunately, complied with it out of convenience. Because they always say, this is for your safety. This is for your convenience. And that's how they're going to tout this. This is for your safety. Is it? Who's safe? I don't feel safe. I don't feel safe when people are that bored that they need to listen to every single thing that I say and do on a daily basis. Like, what is wrong with you? Get a life. I'm just saying, get one. But with that, we're going to end our broadcast for today. Thank you so much for joining me here on Unfiltered Vision News. We will be back tomorrow, of course, for Prayer with Friday, because we've got a lot to pray about. A lot of things have happened. A lot of lives have been affected, and we need to continue to stay prayerful to make sure that God will protect us through all of this madness. So again, thank you guys for joining me. And remember, stay well, stay focused, and stay unfiltered. We'll see you in the next one.